Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today I'm going to be making up my holiday porch pot for my front porch. Some of the things that I have, we went foraging out in the woods up north for, and we had found some short Fraser firs that I thought, those would make kind of a nice centerpiece in the pot. So that's what we're going to actually start off with. But before we actually begin, we have filled this container with potting soil. You can use your old potting soil because really this potting soil has no purpose for the greens as far as keeping them live or looking good. So any old potting soil will work. So first off, as I mentioned, we had found some short Fraser firs out in the forest. So I'm going to go ahead and put this towards the back of my planter. And I'm using this kind of as like a thriller, that nice upright focal point in this container combination. I've never done this before with an actual tree. I've always done branches. So we'll see how this looks. So I'm going to really dig a hole in there and try to get it buried in as far as I can, especially because it's tall. I don't want the wind blowing it around. So I'm tucking some soil around it to kind of keep it more secured. Next, we have a bunch of different evergreens that we had purchased and brought into the garden center this year for our porch pot parties. So what I like to do is I like to start with the fullest, thickest, widest branch. Now, because we have this tree in the back, this might be a little much. If I didn't have that tree though, this is definitely the one that would go to the back of my pot. But if I put that in, it really is going to cover up the tree. So this is not going to be the one I'm going to use for this container. So I do have to apologize if you're hearing some noise right now. It's pretty cold in the garden center, so the fans and the heaters are running. But in addition, we're getting snow right now, and it is that hard, icy kind of snow, and it's just pelting on the top of the roof of the garden center. So here we have some smaller branches, not quite as full. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of these because I think they're not going to take quite as much away from that tall tree that we have. So I'm just going to shove those way in the back there like so. Again, that one's pretty thick. Here's a little bit more narrower of a branch. Tuck that in. Still kind of letting some of that height come through there for the evergreen that we cut. Now we do have a lot of different textures and colors of the branches that we cut this year. So I'm just going to stick them in. I love how the different evergreens kind of add a little bit of contrast and texture into the container combinations. Let's see. Trying to find just a few more of these kind of smaller ones. Now I also went out in the yard and trimmed some arborvitae that had yellow on it because I thought that that might look kind of cool just to break up the greens a little bit. Already I'm liking how that really is adding just kind of a fun, festive splash of color. There really is no rhyme or reason to how you're putting these in, to be honest. You're just wanting to create a nice full container. So we'll kind of put the yellow there. And then let's see, what do we got? Some more greens. Sometimes I'll poke them in on an angle. That way they kind of go outward facing a little bit more. So many choices. Well, this is kind of different looking. I love the little berries on it. I'm going to actually pull this one out and put this one in because see how it kind of drapes to the side? Just kind of hang over to the edge like that nicely. We also have some juniper, which has some nice blueberries on it. So we'll tuck some of that in, and that adds just some nice texture in addition to those beautiful blueberries. And then I also have some evergreen that's kind of more of a weeping type habit. So I'm going to tuck some of that in as well. Let it just kind of weep over the side. Got some shorter branches here. Actually, they're not short, but I really don't want to cut it off. So I'm just going to tuck them into the back a little bit and let them kind of weep forward. Doesn't matter how big or small your pieces are, they all really can be used in your containers. Let's see. So I'm going to just pull some smaller pieces off to kind of fill in the front here a little bit. That way we don't have any bare spots. All right, let's see if we've got any more that can trail over the front. So these ones that are really weepy, I got these from home as well. So if I do need a few more, I'll just cut a few more off the tree and add them in up front. I actually think that will be good there with just that couple. It'll be really nice kind of as it blows in the wind. So now that we have kind of the evergreen structure in place with the porch pot, now we want to add in some of our, I don't know, we're going to bedazzle a little bit, add in a few more things. So I'm going to grab some birch poles. Now, these are some pretty big birch poles, about a 2-inch pole. And I probably should have put these in before I put a lot of these greens in because they take up a lot of space. So we'll see if I can kind of dig them in the soil. Oh yeah, they're going in good. I usually like to put 2 in, just kind of gives it a nice look. There we go, so that'll be good. And now we need to add in a little color. So you could use berries, you can use ornament balls, you can use bows, various things like that. I am going to use ornament balls, and we've got some really nice ones that we got here at the garden center. They're on a pick, so they're really easy just to pick into the planter. Now, if you've got the red berries, those really have kind of a nice natural look into the planter, but I want something that's really vibrant and bold, and these ornament balls definitely do that. So this is nice because these are things that you can use year after year, along with the birch poles. If you have those in your planters, hold on to them and use them next year again. So a lot of the elements that get used are definitely something that you can use from year to year. So that just adds kind of a bright splash of color that you'll see from the road. Now I gotta grab a bow. I'm gonna grab a red bow to put right up front. And again, the bow, this is something that I've used year after year. I kind of like this red plaid look. So I'm gonna take the wire and we're just gonna wrap this around a branch here. Got a nice thick one right up front, so we're just gonna wrap that around it to secure the bow into the planter. It needs to be fluffed a little bit because it's been in storage for a while. So we'll get it all nice and fluffed up, nice and full. And then if you want your tails to be kind of just a little bit wavy, just kind of zigzag them back and forth to give them that wavy look. Oh, look who's coming to check out what we're doing here. This is Milo. Do you approve, Milo? What do you think? It's fun to have the cats around the greenhouse. All right, so we got the bow all nice and fluffed up. The last thing we'll do is when I get home tonight, I do have some red lights that I will just kind of weave and intermingle through. That way at night, it's illuminated, so it looks really pretty on the porch. But the reason why I choose the red lights is because they look like berries. So that's kind of my reasoning behind the color lights that I choose. You could put in white lights too, and I think it would look just equally as beautiful. If you have any questions or comments on putting together porch pots, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you're new to our channel, we welcome you to subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season.